Okay, now we are going to talk about the British administrative organization in India. From that one, civil services. So the British Indian administration was run by four principal institutions. So the whole British Indian administration, so the full British Indian administration was run by four principal institutions. So the main one is civil services, and then army, and then police, and then judiciary. So we all know that what is the civil services, army, police, and judiciary. Okay, so first one is civil services. Yeah, first one is civil services. The term civil service was used for the first time by the East Indian India Company to distinguish its civilian employees from their military counterparts. Translating law into action and collecting revenue were the main jobs of the civil service. The civil service was initially commercial in nature, but later it was transformed into a public service. In the beginning, the appointment to the services was the sole prerogative of the court of directors of the company, but the nominated civil servants indulged in corruption, bribery, and illegal private trade. So Cornwallis, who came to India as Governor General in 1786, enforced the rules against private trade. He also raised the salary of the company servants, who became the highest paid civil servants in the world. Yeah, okay. Civil services. So the word civil service was first used by English East India Company. So the word civil service was first used by English East India Company only. And so that civil service, the civil service used for distinguished civil servant from military officer. Yeah, so the civil service distinguished means different from, so different from military officers. And then proper enforcement of laws and tax collection are the primary occupation for the civil services. What are the primary occupation or primary important? Yeah, what are the primary occupation for civil service? So what are the means? The proper enforcement of laws and the tax collection. What are the things? Proper enforcement of laws and the tax collection are the primary occupation for civil services. And then civil work, which was initially commercial. So civil work, yes, in the starting stages of the civil services, in the starting stages of the civil services, that's work which was initially commercial only. Okay, and then the civil services became a public services, and then it became a, okay. So in the start of the stage, civil work initially commercial only, which was initial commercial, but it became public service over the time. At first, all public appointments were the property of the directors of the English East India Company. So, at first, all public appointments for this post, for the civil service post, were appointed by the directors of the English East India Company only. So, and then all of the hired employees, yeah, all of the selected employees. After that, after the employees get selected, they were doing some illegal business and corruption and bribery. Okay, so at first of all, the civil work post. So the appointment for the civil work post by English East India Company only. After the people's got appointment order, okay, after the people got the appointment order, they were involved in the some corruption, illegal business one. So the Cornwallis, and then the Cornwallis, when the Cornwallis became the governor, he enacted some laws against that private business. Okay, so when Cornwallis became a governor, he enacted some laws that against private business and also raised the salaries. So he raised Cornwallis raised the salaries of employees working in the company. Why? Because also they made them the highest paid government employee in the world. So Cornwallis raised the salaries of the employees working in the company and they made them the highest paid government employees in the world. So next one is Lord Wellesley. Lord Wellesley, look at here. Lord Wellesley, who came to India as Governor General in 1798, introduced the idea of suitable training for the civil servants in India. In 1800, he established the college in Fort William at Calcutta to provide training in literature, science, and language. However, the directors of the company disapproved of his action and replaced it by their own East India College, established at Aylesbury in England in 1806. Okay, look at here. Okay. Lord Wellesley. Lord Wellesley, Governor General of India, when in 1798. So he introduced, so Lord Wellesley introduced the some needed training, so training of Indian civil servants, and also he founded a one college, where he founded a one college in the Calcutta at William Castle in 1800. Okay, so Lord Wellesley founded some one college in Calcutta in 1800 at William Castle. Why? Why he founded a college? Because to train in language, literature, and science. But at the same time, yeah, at the same timing of the opening that college, the directors of the English company refused to do. Yeah, the directors of the English company all refused to do the college opening. So they established the English East India College at the Braebury in England. So they established the English East India College at Braebury in England. So the idea of competition for recruitment was introduced first by the Charter Act 1833. Charter Act. But the system of competition was this not nominated by the Court of Directors, were not eligible to write the competitive examination. Hence, the system was called a nomination cum competition system. The system of recruitment on the basis of open competitive examination was introduced in 1853. So this system was confirmed by the Government of India Act of 1858. The maximum age for competitors was fixed at 23. Subsequently, East India College at Aylesbury was abolished in 1858, and recruitment to civil services became the responsibility of the Service Commission. By the regulation of 1860, the maximum age was lowered to 22 in 1866 to 21 and in 1876 to 19. So, okay, listen, the idea of competition. So, the Charter Act is a very, very important. So, the Charter Act of 1833, the Charter Act introduced the concept of appointment of civil services through the competitive examination. So, the Charter Act introduced the competitive examination for the civil servant appointment of the civil servants. But the directors of the company who appointed people were considered ineligible to write the competitive exam. This system was called appointment and competitive selection system. So the Charter Act introduced the concept of the appointment of civil servants through the competition exam. But the directors of the company, so the directors of the company who appointed some people, yeah, they already appointed some people, so they were considered the ineligible to write the competitive exam. Yeah, so hence this system was called the appointment and competitive selection system. Appointment cum competitive selection system. So the selection of staff through the open competitive selection system was brought in 1853. So therefore the competitive selection system brought in 1853 only. So this time it was confirmed by the Constitution of India. Also in that time, 1858, the Indian Constitution confirmed the competitive selection exam also. So the maximum age, what is the what was the maximum age for the competitive exam? So the maximum age for the competitive exam was fixed at 23 only. Fixed at 23. Yeah, and then following this, the college in England was removed in 1858. So following this, the college in England, which college? English, yeah, East India College. So in England was removed in 1858. Further, the responsibility of selecting person. So the responsibility of selecting person for civil service went to the Civil Service Selection Board. So in 1860, so in 1860, the maximum age, the maximum age for writing an exam was reduced to 22. So the maximum age for writing an examination was reduced to 22 by the disciplinary order. And then this is not enough for people. So they are yeah, and then the reduced to 21 in 1866 and then 19 in 1876. So the Indian Civil Service Act of 1861 passed by the British Parliament exclusively reserved certain categories of high executive and judicial post for the covenanted civil service, which was later designated as the Indian Civil Services. Due to the lowering of age limit and holding of examination in London, it could be possible only for a very few wealthy Indians to appear at the ICS examination. In 1869, three Indians, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, and Bigali Lal Gupta, became successful in the ICS examination. So, okay. So, first of all, the Indian Civil Service. The Indian Civil Service Act was passed by the British Parliament in 1861. So, first of all, the Indian Civil Service Act was passed by the British Parliament in 1861. So, the law provided for the law provided for the appointment of certain top executive and judicial position also. So this law provided some appointment of the higher executive, top executive, and judicial of position also, and the contract basis only. So these tasks were later transferred to the Indian ruling elites due to the reduction in the age limit and due to the so there are two reasons. One is due to the reduction in the age limit, and another one is ability people. So wealthy people, rich people only to go to the London to write the ICS exam. Yeah, so there are two reasons. So due to the reduction in the age limit and the ability to go to the London to write the exam, it was felt that the rich people only, so rich people only could be able to go to the London and write the exam. So for these two reasons only, these tasks were later transferred to the Indian ruling elites. And then it was felt that in 1869, three Indian people, one is Surendranath Banerjee, another one is Ramesh Chandranath, and then Bigari Lal Gupta. Yeah, they three won ICS exams. They successfully completed one ICS examination. Later on, the Indians demanded to the increase the age limit and establish center for the examination in India instead of England. In 1892, the minimum age limit for appearing for the civil service examination was raised to 21 and the maximum to 23. In 1912, a Royal Commission on Public Service was appointed, chaired by Lord Islington. This commission had two Indian members, G.K. Gopalakrishna Gokhale and Sir Abdur Rahim, besides four Englishmen. So the commission published its report in 1917. So Livingston Commission's recommendation party fulfilled the demand for the Indianization of civil service. Yeah, okay. First of all, full thing. So now we are going to see full. The Indians. So the Indians asked the company. So Indians demanded the company. What demand? To raise the age limit for ICS exam. So the Indians demanded the company to raise the age limit for ICS exam and also keep that exam in India only. Okay, instead of England, because middle class people cannot afford to go to the London and write the exam. So that's why the Indians demanded the company to raise the age limit for ICS exam and also keep that exam in India only. So the result was that in 1892 the minimum age was, so after that in 1892 the minimum age was raised from 21 to 23. So the demanded are accepted. Okay, so the minimum age was raised from 21 to 23. And also 1912 administration headed by the Prabhu Livingston was formed to investigate government function. Okay, in 1912 one administration headed. So that what, yeah, what were the occupation, what were the work for that administration? So that administration headed by the Prabhu to investigate the government functions only. Yeah, so in that administration there are members. So there are two Indian members. One is Gopalakrishna Gokhale and another one is Abdur Rahim from India, along with four Englishmen. So there are six members. So in 1917, the commission issued the recommendation. What recommendation? The recommendation not only partially fulfilled the demands of the Indians, but also made the civil selection process in India. So in 1917, the commission issued its recommendation. So the recommendation fulfilled the demands, but not only fulfilled the demands, so but also made the civil selection process. That civil selection process also happened in India. In 1918, in 1918, Mondego and Sems Board suggested that 30% of Indians. So Mondego and Sems Board suggested or recommended that 33% of Indians should be elected to the civil service post and that should be gradually increased. So Lee Prabhu was appointed chairman of the government commission established in 1923. So new, yeah, another administration, government commission. So established in 1923, that leader was Lee Prabhu. It recommended that all appointments to the Indian government services, so that administration recommended that all appointments to the Indian government service and Indian police service and Indian forest service should be under the control of the Secretary of the State for India.